through your freedom.
Sorry.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
Welcome to the Prepared Mind channel. I just made it back barely. You can ask Jolene. About 15 minutes ago, I slid in. Thank you for showing up late. I know it's odd, short notice. The green tank had some issues, had to go in to see the green tank doctor. Whew, I can't wait to see what that's going to cost me. Anyways, folks, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel, where we talk about all things SHTF. And you guys on Patreon here, you is the best. Thank you for all your support, your guerrilla funding, the fight against the forces of evil, tyranny, and the anti-constitutional crowd. All right, this is the 30-minute monologue and Q&A. Tomorrow, folks, is going to be Free for All Friday. You know how that goes. We'll mix it up. But today, get your questions into Jolene. Questions, comments, thoughts, you name it. I got a bunch of new material that's come from Mr. T, but we're not going to play it today. I haven't had time to upload anything. Seriously, folks, running around like a chicken with my head cut off. I've been busier than a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest. I am wound up because someone gave me a cappuccino. So look out. Let's get into this. What is going on, folks? The whole world, it seems to have gone insane. Insane. Let's just confirm this right now. We'll start here. Folks, the energy war is on. The U.S. is out and China is in. Folks, Saudi Arabia has officially invited President Xi Jinping, the leader of China, not President Xi of the United States government, but Xi Jinping. He's going to visit the country, right? Saudi Arabia. And they're going to start letting the United States go. Folks, the Middle East has had enough United States, which is sad. Right? We've had a long, long relationship, well, since World War II with the Middle East. But now look out. The world is changing before our eyes, folks. You know, by hook or by crook, they're trying to take over the world. They're giving us their great reset, folks. It doesn't mean it's going to stick, but they're certainly going to ruffle a few feathers. They're certainly going to throw a lot of dust in the air. And when it all clears, you and I need to be standing for liberty and freedom. And we're going to pay, though, folks. Oh, we're going to pay. Now, as usual, on Patreon, you guys get extra information that no one else gets because you pay that hefty $2 a month premium, 7 cents a day. It's mucho appreciated. And some of you do more than $2 a month, and that's awesome. I really am grateful. We've got a lot to do, folks. This is an ongoing, never-ending battle to get facts out, to share perspectives. Unbelievable. Just to give everyone who's not on Patreon a little taste, folks, right? There's this mysterious blood clot thing going along, and a pathologist decided to weigh in on it. Now, of course, here, I'm just going to tell you, we know who the real experts are. They work for the U.S. government. But if you want to hear a non-expert expert's opinion, you can go to Patreon. Look down below, folks. You'll see the links. Jolene puts them there. She puts them there, folks. But it seems like in every way we are nothing but food for the powerful, right? There's an old expression used to describe peons, the sacrificial pieces, pawns. They were called cannon fodder, cannon food. Cannons ate up the troops, folks, in war. Now, folks, right, we are propaganda fodder. We're not cannon fodder. Now we're propaganda fodder, right? Now, according to the mainstream media, there was all kinds of progress heading towards peace. Why did they want that? Why is the mainstream media wanting that? Why is President Biden wanting that? Well, in a way, they need this discussion of peace so that the oil price comes down. They need to keep it talked down because they're losing, folks. Biden and the globalists in Europe and the United States and around the world, they're losing political points. The people are waking up and getting pissed because they feel someone tugging at their wallet to fill up the old gas tank. So, reports of major progress towards peace in Ukraine are, according to Putin, they're wrong, right? Again, Putin is upsetting the apple cart because why? Well, because Biden is calling him all kinds of names. I mean, on the one hand, they want the benefit of peace with Putin. On the other hand, they can't help themselves. They need this conflict to persist. See, that's called a catch-22. Right? There's another expression. They're in a catch-22. They need all of this disaster, SHTF, so they can sneak their great reset crap in. Right? But, right, they also need it to be calm so they can keep the oil price down. Folks, we're propaganda fodder. Right? So where do we get the truth? From the US government, the mainstream media? Right? And folks, when it comes to news and propaganda, they are one and the same. Well, do we go to international media sources, right? No. In the international media, the same bias is there, right? How about Russian sourced media, right? Well, not only are they censored and silenced, but I don't think they're a whole lot better, but I think we should have access to both sides so we can get a balance between them, flush out most of the noise and determine for ourselves that the truth lies with the facts contained within. Remember, we get truth from the mainstream media and the government, and we get truth from the Russians and their propaganda. They always have a big giant lie with just enough truth placed on it to make it believable. For people to go, oh yeah, that part's true, so the rest must be what? Right? The facts, folks, are to be determined. Right? Now here's a quote coming from the Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman, Maria Zakharova. She says, the Western media are forming an absolutely distorted picture of current events. They disinform their own population. They are a propaganda tool in the hands of their politicians. Well, yeah, we all are, folks. That's why I have divorced myself from their control over this mind, right? And as we've been saying lately, knowing the truth is the first casualty of war, right? Knowing that, folks, truth is the first casualty of war. We can look to history, the track record of current politicians, and get a good idea of what the agendas are. And when the agendas, when those are understood, we can conclude what will be happening by combining that, the agenda, with the player holding the upper hand, both long and short term in any scenario. Right? While there is a lot of guesswork for us, we can gain enough insights to judge who is most honest or least deceitful, as it were. So, what you do with the information, folks, macro or micro, is up to you. For me, it's all about prepping for wider conflict, long-term damage control, and preparing for the great discomfort the whole way. It's really too bad they don't make like a preparation H or a tux pad for SHTF. I tell you. Now, let's move on if we shall. I'm feeling funny. I spent some time talking to Brother Jim today, and he's running around toting the old Hawaiian shirts. I love that commercial while we're here on this. What's in your wallet? I'm going to ask you, as the prophet of prepping, what's in your pantry? Get this, folks. More big news today. The agricultural powerhouse, Brazil, which I described the other day, the percentage of world population that they feed, right? Brazil could be severely impacted by Russia's fertilizer embargo, right? Yes, folks, major inflation, crop yield reductions, and food rationing are coming to planet Earth. Brazil has transformed itself into an agricultural giant over the last 2 decades. Not the world's biggest, but they're a giant, folks. It has become a leading exporter of coffee, sugar, soybeans, rice, cotton, corn, edible beans, wheat, grains, right? The biggest problem is how the fertilizer disruption from Russia and the soaring prices from currency devaluation result in future harvest declines and people's ability to pay, right? Big time inflation and pain coming around the world. Remember, we're in America. You might be in Europe, you might be in Australia, but for us, we're first world, so we have more disposable income. They're already doing protests and riots in Iraq, folks. We read about that days ago. They're already started. So let's look at this. What's going on in Brazil, though? While Russia is an ally of Brazil, folks, there is an effort to scare the United States and the European Union, right? Putting us all on notice that SHTF is going to get far, far worse, right? There's no peace. No way it's SHTF, folks. Russia will, when they finally decide to start selling fertilizer again, they will help their allies first. But problems will be visited on the world long before any relief comes. Do you care to doubt me? Right? I'm not perfect, folks. I'm just doing my very best. And again, thank you for helping support what we do, helping one another out. Thank you for helping trolls to find the exit door. If you don't like the message, you don't have to be here. If you sense that something is wrong out there, my recommendation is, right, you take a look, stick your head above ground, take a look around, and then decide what you should be doing. Okay. I hate this little guy. I really do. I can't stand him. I can't stand him. The little booster rooster.
And not just to think about, well, my freedom is being kind of disturbed here. No, screw your freedom.
There comes a time when you do have to give up what you consider your individual right of making your own decision.
That's right. That guy. He has now come out of the hole again, folks. He climbed out from the slimy little hole under the slimy toadstool-covered rock to address the world. And now, folks, get this. He has really gone out of his way to help us. And he says, we have an advanced preventative, just in case, lockdown and mandate idea. That's right, folks. The booster rooster says, quote, it may be necessary. No, that's not a quote. It's a paraphrase. It may be necessary, folks, to reinstitute cerveza bug restrictions to stop an additional surge. That's right. It may be necessary. So, hey, guess what? We now have an advanced preventative just in case. In other words, we should lock everyone down and start mandating stuff just in case something happens. Right? Yeah. We have preventative medicine. It's called good health. It's called natural immunity. But folks, they don't want to let it go. They're realizing their power is slipping away, slipping through their fingers, and they don't want to let it go. They want to scare people. That's what's happening with China. They need to keep that, maybe not on the front. They want fear on the front of the mind and cerveza bug on the back. That's right. We may have to do a preventative move just in case. And folks, when nothing happens, they can say, look, our preventative measures, lockdowns, mandates, masks, and rules save the world. That's how they do it. Folks, I'm going to tell you right now, you need to go like this, go and make an invisible force field around yourself. And what that's going to do is it's going to stop planet Mars from slamming into Earth, because all of our force fields will build up and protect the Earth. So when Mars doesn't slam into us tomorrow, you can thank that force field I told you about, because it's real. That's essentially what he's saying. Is, oh yeah, something could happen. And so we're going to do all of these things and take your rights, right? We're going to do the unpopular thing, right? Sometimes you need to give up your rights so that they can have power. Unbelievable, folks. Oh, wait, there's more. You want more unbelievable stuff? I hope you got questions, folks. I hope you got questions. By the way, we have great turnout tonight here live on Patreon. This is fantastic. I'm looking at the numbers behind the scenes, and it's terrific. Get ready for this, folks. The United States has been giving Ukraine money for a long time. this interest of the United States government and businesses, they've been at it in Ukraine for a long time. Guess what? Billions of dollars, folks, billions of your dollars have been given to the Ukraine in the form of, it's not really a loan. It's kind of like a donation, right? It's funding to help guarantee the American way of life can exist in Ukraine. Right? Billions of dollars have been gifted by the American people via the government. And folks, billions of dollars have gone missing. And yet, right now, our politicians want to send billions more. Now, we gave them billions in the past, and they seem to have just lost it. I wonder if the big guy got any of that. I wonder if 90 Proof Nancy, or maybe Jen Psaki, or somebody, I wonder if they have accounts, bank accounts, numbered bank accounts in Switzerland, or maybe Russian bank accounts, Ukraine bank accounts, Hong Kong bank accounts. I wonder if they have bank accounts, and I wonder if any of that money has found its way into their accounts, for safekeeping. Folks, they lost billions. And so now we expect them to be more careful with our money, right? As they rush through this money because, save Ukraine. Oh my gosh, we got to help the Ukrainian people. We've sent billions and billions, folks, and somehow the government of Ukraine lost that. Thank you, Zelensky. Yeah, we can trust this guy who's wearing ratty t-shirts to talk to the world. Yeah, I think he could probably afford to wear hand-knitted silk with the money that's gone missing. Unbelievable. You're going to say, John, no way. Hey, no way. Get this, folks. A year and a half has passed since the Hunter Biden laptop became public knowledge and what was on it. And finally, the New York Times is confirming that that is a real thing. And I'm like, really? No way. Really? Folks, we were waiting, and this is the thing that kills me. We were waiting for the leftist scum of the New York Times to confirm the laptop with videos and pictures of Hunter, President Joe Biden's son, of Hunter having sex with hookers and smoking and or snorting illegal drugs. We really needed to wait for the New York Times. How did the New York Times confirm that? Can't anyone else confirm things? Shouldn't the government that confirmed it with the New York Times be sharing it with all media and all of us? They've been hiding it, folks, hiding. Now they're finally admitting it. Unbelievable. Missing money. I wonder how much money Hunter Biden made in Ukraine. But we're back in Ukraine, folks, right? President Zelensky, this supreme leader of the poor, downtrodden people, the supposed George Washington of the Minsk, right? Zelensky went before German parliament today. And he actually did this, folks. He said, tear down this wall. That's what Ronald Reagan said to Mikhail Gorbachev, leader of the Soviet Union. Right? The wall was in Germany. The wall between East and West Berlin. Right? Zelensky is now a pandering putz. He's running around in front of everyone, pretending to be, beaten down, downtrodden, impoverished. His people are suffering. And he wants to tear down this wall. He wants a no-fly zone. Right? He wants everyone to come fight his wars for him. He's trying to hold off Putin and then tell our media, yeah, we got a peace deal going. And then our media reports that we got a peace deal going. Everyone stay calm. At the same time, no, he's pushing for war. He wants support from the U.S., from Germany, and everyone else. He wants money to be gifted. He wants military to step in and fight his battle for him. Right? There's a bigger problem at play here, folks. A much bigger problem. And you want to hear a little piece of that? I'll give you a little piece of that. I'll give you some of the problem we have. Folks, Biden called Putin a murderous dictator and, quote, pure thug. Harshest words yet. And they're words, folks. They're definitely words. Russia says this. We have the might to put you in your place. That doesn't sound like a country that's losing on the ground, right? Russia's not losing to Ukrainian military, right? And he says, we have the might to put you in your place. Russia does, folks. Russia has a lot of power. Turkey is a NATO member. Remember how we spoke, was it last week, that Turkey is playing both sides. They're good buddies with Russia. They've been playing both sides for a while. They have Russian military equipment and jets, and they have American military equipment and jets. They've been playing both sides. They've been playing both sides. Turkey, right, is trying to push for a Putin-Zelensky meeting. You really think Zelensky is going to be able to stand in front of Putin and lie his ass off and have Putin believe it? Or do you think when those meetings happen, right, that all the bullshit just stops? Well, remember this, folks. No meeting is ever held in person. No real meeting. I mean, these amateurs in DC and amateurs in other countries, they have these kind of thoughts now that I'm going to go to a meeting and I'm going to fix things there. Doesn't happen that way. Right? Zelensky was so upset when he got to meet with low-level Russian diplomats weeks and weeks ago. He was like, what do you think? Putin's actually going to talk to you, you little turd? Putin's not going to talk to him until it's time to put Zelensky's hand, jam a pin in it, and put it to paper. Putin won't waste his time negotiating with this liar. And they're all liars, folks. All these politicians lie. They're full of shit. But Putin does have the upper hand. He has the power to put everyone in place, and he's proved it. Because if he did not, the United States would have rolled in. NATO could have rolled in. But he does have a lot of power. A very powerful nuclear deterrence and a very powerful military. It needs to be respected and understood. But instead, we, the people of the United States, are being told we should go to war. And as reported earlier, about a third of the country thinks, yeah, it's worth the risk to have a nuclear war with Russia. Are you kidding me? You know, it's unbelievable where we're at. Anyways, back to Turkey. They want there to be a Putin-Zelensky meeting. That's more pablum. That's more fodder for the propaganda cannon. Right? Unbelievable what they're doing. They're going to screw this up, folks. They're going to screw this up. I was talking to an executive of a company today who is very well aware of how the United States auto industry, in fact, the international auto industry, use all of these third world countries to make their parts, and then they ship the parts around the world, and then the parts come and get assembled into cars that get sold. Yeah, we've had kind of a car shortage, right? Used car prices have gone up quite a bit. It's hard to get new cars. It's hard to get new cars that run. It's because countries like Ukraine, folks, it's just, the whole thing is jacked up. Jacked up. Yeah. But you know what will fix it is when the president of the United States calls Putin a pure thug and a murderous dictator. It's interesting. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, right? So because of that little insult, folks, a U.S. intelligence chief is warning of Russian nuclear threats. Well, we have peace, we have war. We have peace, we have war. Do you feel like you're one of those little balls on an elastic string with a little paddle board and back and forth, peace, war, peace, war, peace, war, getting smacked around? That's what it feels like. Unbelievable. We had a really good day in the stock market, but then the stocks, the futures slipped, right? Because this new threat, it's always a new threat. I really don't believe we're going to have a nuclear war, folks. I think the odds are very slim because of the potential elimination of like 95% of the world's population. Be that as it may, the threat of that can cause more turmoil. Just the mere threat, folks. Right? Russia could use nuclear weapons. Russia could use chemical weapons. Russia could use biological weapons. And Putin can let things slip. Putin can make threats just to destabilize markets in the West. He doesn't even have to fire a single shot across the border into poor little Poland. And he's getting the chaos that he wants, folks, without having to fire a single bullet. Right? It's, history is going to have a story to tell. His story, history, his story. Right? And it is the winners of wars and conflicts and trade, right? Whoever wins these wars, they get to write the history books and say, this is what happened. This is why. For now, we get to live it, folks. It is crazy what is going on. Be sure and get your questions in. We're almost to the Q&A section. Now, federal judge in Washington, D.C. Oh, by the way, we're coming back domestically to the United States because we still have the January 6th committee trying to say that there was an insurrection. An insurrection, all those protesters, insurrection, they're trying to take over the government by waving flags and holding picket signs. Waving signs, folks, that's so dangerous. Such a sign of insurrection. Federal judge is dismissed for a second time this week. Dismissed felony obstruction charges. Folks, there is no insurrection charge. They can't even get an obstruction charge. Judge has thrown it out. There's so little proof. But why are they doing this? Why are they saying it was insurrection? Well, so they can attack Trump, attack Republicans, attack you. Say you are a domestic threat, a domestic terrorist, a potential domestic enemy. That's what they're doing, folks. They're trying to create this division in America, this purge mentality. Well, my opinion, that's really what they're doing, folks. Incredible. And trust me, Russia and China, they're loving every minute of it. They're already screwed up. They're already jacked up. Okay? But they're going to pour some gasoline on the fire. They're going to put some more Molotov cocktails out there. Xi, not President Xi Biden, but President Xi Jinping of China, right? He basically just put down and made fun of Biden in the mainstream media. They apparently wrote an opinion editorial article for the Washington Post in which China, Xi, is accusing the United States of mudslinging and disinformation. I trust China about as much as I trust a fox in the henhouse. But you can see what this is doing and what this is causing. Are you prepared? We need food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. You need a plan, right? You need to help others get prepared. Once again, folks, we have this, right? We have this QR code. Your camera, you take a picture with that. And you just put your camera on it and it'll give you a link. And then when you push that link, it goes to this page on the internet. And this little page right here has links to help people get prepared, right? Prep to action. Call your congressman. Call your senators. Call your governors. Call everybody. Text, write, email, call. But also help other people wake up. We're in big, big trouble, folks. Prepping is no longer a joke. It's no longer a punchline. It's no longer to be dismissed, right? The other day we covered that Costco, massive bulk buying store. Costco covers the whole nation. Costco, they carry emergency food supplies. They sell like the bucket. And in the past, we've shown buckets, different companies, buckets of SHTF chow, Armageddon chow. survival chow, whatever you want to call it. Costco's out. They buy that stuff by the pallets, by the truckloads, and they're out. People know there's something wrong. You know, help them get prepared. There's a whole lot more than just having a bucket of dehydrated, freeze-dried, sealed up rice with some spices. It takes a little more than that. A little more, right? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. You know, the preparedmind.club has all of that stuff, folks. Also, right, we have VPN, virtual private network, to protect your computer. We have access to antibiotics and other medicinal issues through legitimate doctors that you can have an online medical discussion with. Oh, we've got body armor. We've got communications gear. We got everything, folks, to get you prepped up. But enough on that. Enough on that. Let's get to your questions in the Q&A.
Are you ready?
My brains are full. Okay, folks, what do you want to talk about? A little lamenting and bemoaning on my part, also known as man bitching. All right, we got Opie Waddell in the house, and he says, John, where are the QR code T-shorts? We will not be wearing any T-shorts. We will not be putting my facial emblem on a pair of shorts. The QR code for a T-shirt. Now, that's an idea I never thought of. You would pay $25 to wear a shirt with a QR code on it. You can get Prepared Mind T-shirts. Now, I don't think it's such a bad idea to have a logo, you know, maybe like our joke, right? Jim Jones Juice shirt, our parody shirt. It could have a little QR code right in the middle of the shirt. Someone says, hey, I think your shirt's funny. Go, yeah, hit that QR code and tell me how long you laugh before you start to cry when you realize the trouble we're in. I would love to have that, Opie Waddell. I think we're going to have to ask Jolene nicely if we want stuff like that, because she does a lot of that work in the background, working on Prepared Mind merchandise, helping make sure that we have, folks, access to a lot of incredible, incredible stuff. In fact, I saw a night vision scope. It's a rifle scope, works in the day and at night, has rangefinder, automatic stuff, all kinds of really cool gizmos. On top of that, it can record what you're shooting at, and it uses GPS off your phone to triangulate where you're at and where your target is. It was an incredible scope, and it was like 600 and something bucks. I was like, wow, that's just a few more dollars than the night vision scope I have, the Yukon NVRS night vision rifle scope. I got that years and years and years ago, back when I was married and I had lots of money. Well, you know, out of the divorce, I got the scope anyways. Still, you know, that scope was $550. This scope has day vision, night vision. It's a scope. It's got all kinds of stuff. You become like a one-man sniper team. I'm hoping that we can get an affiliate link for that, for those of you who want some really badass technology to help you find nocturnal communists. And it does work in the daytime too, daytime commies. All right. Yes, once again, though, Jolene does all kinds of merchandising. Let's move on. When Jolene flashes stuff up, she's like, John, you've gone a little too far. We've got Latin American Preparedness says, I noticed an increased number of refugees from Russia and Ukraine at the San Isidro border. Did I pronounce that properly? San Isidro? Russian immigrants likely to face hostilities very similar to Japanese and German during World War II. Your thoughts? Well, here's how this works. Immigrants from other countries show up at our border, and they tell the border guards, they tell anyone that runs into them, that they are from the country that needs the most sympathy at the moment. You could have Russian immigrants, Polish immigrants. You could have immigrants from India or Bangladesh show up and say they're from Ukraine and please give us some money. There's going to be all that. Right? Please let us in. Can we have some food? But yeah, they could face hostilities if they said we're Russian. In fact, Russians are facing hostilities. It's incredible to me. Putin, if anyone's a problem and it's Russia, it is Putin, right? He's the leader. He's the one making the big decisions. So shouldn't he get the blame? Why would we pick on poor little Russian citizens? Right? They've had to flee their own country. They come to America, the great hope of the world. Why don't we treat them nicer? Well, because people want to feel like they're really taking charge, you know. And so, yeah, Japanese folks, Japanese Americans, some who were immigrants, some who were first generation, second generation, were treated very poorly leading up to World War II. They were put in concentration camps here in the United States of America, land of the free, home of the brave, and land of the internment camps for Japanese Americans. Never mind that many Japanese enlisted and fought. They did not fight in the Pacific theater, folks. They ended up fighting in the European theater because we couldn't trust them. You know, can't trust those guys. They could give valuable information to the Japanese because, you know, just because their parents or their grandparents came from Japan, that means that they're still loyal. Oh, yeah. You got to love the trust the government places in us. Well, go ahead and put that back up there, please, Jolie, and I'm going to rag on this one some more. We can't trust them, right? But we could let them fight in Europe. Well, we got the same problem with Germans, folks. You know, the Germans were accused of starting World War I and World War II. Believe it or not, that's what people say. And so Americans of German descent, they claim to not be German. They claim to be Pennsylvania Dutch, which is code for I'm so German it hurts. But yeah, Dutch or Swedish, anything other than admitting they're German, right? And I have a funny feeling that a lot of families lost their heritage by denying their heritage. All right, let's moving on. Russian immigrants likely to face hostility. Those are my thoughts. Yeah, they're going to face hostility, especially coming from a political organization that is controlling Washington, D.C. That would be the Democrat organization, folks. It controls the White House, Congress, which is the House and the Senate. They are rough riding the Supreme Court up and down like they're in an adult movie, and they have the bureaucracy. So you bet, folks, they're going to waylay and put down the Russian people, try and create as much hatred for everything Russia. Why? Because, you know, they're not getting their way into Ukraine. I feel bad for them right now. Be that as it may, having said that, I've met a lot of people from countries like Lithuania, Ukraine, Belarus, Estonia, Latvia, and I think even a few Russians in my lifetime. And just like everyone else on the planet, some of them are good and some are giant assholes, right? The way they treat other people and push them around, you know, it's just people are people. But to want to hate an entire people for what their leader does is interesting. Now, I might say, hey, you're Russian. You know, do you want to kill America? Do you want to destroy America? Do you want to see America burn and tumble? And they'll probably say no. Right? But if they said, yeah, you know, screw America, I hate America, I'd be number one, why are you here? Number two, let me show you the door. Right? Who else doesn't like America, folks? Who else doesn't like our Constitution, our history, our traditions, our culture? Who else doesn't like our children? That would be the Democrat Party. The liberals, folks, these social communists and social fascists in the Democrat Party, they hate America. They're trying to get rid of the Constitution. That seems to be a much bigger threat to me than a bunch of silly little Russian immigrants, don't you think? Because Russian immigrants are not running Washington, D.C., the White House, Congress, or the bureaucracy, are they? So while all of these idiots run around going, yeah, nuclear war wouldn't be bad, third of America, and saying, you know, these Russian people, we need to get rid of them. We need to punish them, right? The Russian people that are here probably love America a lot more than the Democrats do. But, you know, the media wouldn't show you that. They wouldn't put it that way, right? No. Let us move on. Thank you, Jolene, again, for putting up with my bellicosity. Charles Gentry checks in. I'll make you famous, Charles. He says, I think little drippy petcock's problem. Oh my God. I haven't heard this one. That's a good one. He's talking about the booster rooster, the little drip, right? Dr. Fawcett, he's calling him the little drippy petcock. His problem is his masterpiece bug isn't living up to the hype. We're talking cerveza bug, folks. Cerveza bug was supposed to be a plague that changes the world by killing everybody. Yeah, it hasn't lived up the hype. So jabbity jab jab. Now, Wub Wub 3 is back, is the backup plan. Wub Wub 3 is World War 3. Here's the only thing I'm going to say that is addresses that in a way. I think that all along they knew that the cerveza bug would not live up to the hype. They would scare everyone, push everyone, try and get mandates, lock the world down, start changing things. And then as a 1-2 punch, right? Again, 1-2 punch. The idea was to have a war anyways. Remember, war is the greatest instrument for social, economic, and political change the world has ever known. You go back to humans living in little villages, right? In one country, or I'm sorry, one village looks at another village and says, hey, those guys got more stuff than us. They got better stuff than us. They got better huts. They got rock huts. We got mud huts. They got roofs. We got sticks. And we're going to go start a war with them and steal their stuff. Right from the very beginning, the idea has been, let's go steal someone else's stuff. And instead of saying it's thievery, we're going to call it war, which is, more justifiable. That's how they play, folks. That's how they roll. You bet. I think the little drippy petcock, I bet he's enjoying every minute of his power. I mean, he all but smiles gleefully as he says, yeah, it looks like we're going to need to lock everyone down just to prevent Mars from slamming into Earth or another cerveza bug outbreak. You bet, folks. And Wub Wub 3, that's the backup phase 2. It's another tsunami wave. Unbelievable. All right, we got a lot of new people in the comments section. We're getting a lot of people at Patreon, folks. I think we got 12 this month so far. That's great. Hey, the more the merrier. We need all the help we can get. The more we're getting as far as subscribers, that means the word's going to spread wider. We are better protected against censorship because at any time, folks, YouTube could once again wipe me out, or they could do it permanently. They don't have to use the strike system. They can just say, John, you're a pain in the ass and we don't like you. You're done here and now forever, right? They could do that. They could say that. It's their channel, right? I don't have a right to speak freely on their show, at least until, they change the rules and make free speech the law of the land again. But for the time being, they could get rid of me, right? So it's good to see so many new people and faces and names here, sharing information, ideas, and thoughts. So the piping shrike, that's different than the shrieking eels. The piping shrike says, recently bought a Benchmade folding bug out knife. What are John's recommendations for utility knives and brands? I really like the quality of Benchmade, folks. There are a lot of good knives. I love a good buck knife, right? It depends on what job it is you want it to do. My sons gave me a tactical tomahawk for Christmas years and years ago. Right? I was like, a tactical tomahawk. This is cool as hell. That tactical tomahawk went to the RMZ. I chopped everything up in the RMZ. I mean, nothing stood a chance with the tactical tomahawk, but that's what it was designed for: chopping, shaping. Yeah, important stuff to have the right tool for the right job. I've got knives, which are folders. I've got knives that are fixed blade. I love my K-bar, folks, Marine Corps K-bar. And I've also got a bayonet, right? U.S. military issue bayonet. It attaches to my BB gun AR style. I've got one of those BB guns. It's an airsoft gun, looks like an AR, but it's an airsoft gun. but I got a, nice little bayonet. Every knife has a purpose. I do like the old survival style knives, folks, like, the Rambo style, because it's got a hollow handle and you can slide that over a stick or a rod. And now you've got a spear. Now in the movie, the first movie, First Blood, Rambo used that to skewer a pig and he was eating good. There's a lot of different ways that knives can be used. And do not forget, folks, that you need to be able to sharpen your knife, whether you use whetstones or some other sharpening sticks. When you start using a knife for utility, they go dull. So, and this little piece of advice I'll throw out there as well. Not only do you need to sharpen the knife, but the higher quality the knife is, the longer it will hold an edge. Higher quality steel. And you can feel the quality of a knife when you hold it, when you open it, when the blade locks, if it's a folder. You can feel the quality. Typically, folks, you get what you pay for. And the same goes in knives. So we've got Eli in the Wolverine state. He says, I was looking at fallout maps from Chernobyl today. Most of that fell over Europe. Would have thought most of it gone towards Russia. Here's what I'm going to say, Eli. In my opinion, most of that went into Russia. They are going to want propaganda to show that no. See, in the Northern Hemisphere, the jet stream runs from west to east. In the United States, it runs from California around the world to the East Coast. But somehow in Europe, the wind blows the opposite direction. I can see there being strange days. There were times in California, I'm not shitting you, I'm way up in extreme Northern California. There's times I was like, the hell is that? It's super high desert, folks, super dry. I could smell moisture. I'm like, that smells like the tropics. Every now and then, the jet stream would change, and it would blow warm, moist, tropical air up from the Gulf of Mexico all the way to California. That happened a number of times over the last 20 years. Probably 4 times. So could the winds carry radioactive dust back into Europe? Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. I just say not likely. I don't believe it. I believe what they want to do is scare the people of Europe, scare the Americans, go, oh yeah, last time that happened, everything went and landed all over Europe. I'm just not buying it, folks. See, to me, that sounds like a lie. When we do other things like look at history, compare it to facts that we know, right? Why is it in that one part of the world in the Northern Hemisphere, the jet stream and the winds blow from east to west, right? Interesting stuff, folks. And I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying, to me, it doesn't seem very likely. And that story that, well, Chernobyl blew back into Europe sounds like something the propagandists would say. We got Victor checking in, and he is a Russian American. And thank you, Victor. And again, I enjoyed eating that Russian MRE months and months ago. Well, some of it I did, and some of it I didn't. There was some weird, interesting stuff that the Russians eat. Different culture, different foods. Anyways, Victor says, I am Russian American and have had discrimination here my whole life. And in the Marine Corps, folks, I believe Victor was an officer in the United States Marine Corps. They specifically said, I'm not allowed to do intelligence MOSs. That's military occupational specialties. He says, I wanted infantry anyway, but still, isn't that interesting that he was not allowed to work in the intelligence sector as a Marine Corps officer? To be an officer, folks, you have to have a college degree. So I might ask this question. How is it that Lieutenant Colonel Vindeman, wasn't he from Ukraine? How is it that Lieutenant Colonel Vindeman and his brother both served in the military, some sort of intelligence, and even, right, had Vindeman working in the White House during the Trump administration? Talk about a social fascist, right? Or social communist. That guy is a turd. But yeah, he was allowed to, yet Victor couldn't because he's Russian. Well, it surprises me, and it doesn't. Maybe your politics just weren't in line with the Washington, D.C. Pentagon mentality. Maybe you needed to come from a more treasonous family. I'm not saying that your family's treasonous. I'm saying, since Lieutenant Colonel Vindeman seemed to be anti-American, to me, that smells quite a bit treasonous. Anyways, I know that we all throw the word treasonous around too much. Here we go, folks. Let's keep on going. We got Mark the Prepared Klingen. And he says this: Ukraine is Nazi country. USA supporting Ukraine. Are they now supporting the men of 6 million Jews are poisoned? I don't think 6 million Jews were poisoned. I think they were also shot, starved, worked to death. Yeah, it was terrible, folks. Ukraine is Nazi country, and the U.S. is supporting the Ukraine. 1 and 1 is 2, folks. 2 and 2 is 4, and 2 and 2 be foe, right? Yeah. But what is a Nazi in the more modern sense, right? Very few people run around with the old swastika on them, but it's a mentality. It's a political perspective and belief that countries or nations, the government anyway, is totalitarian in nature, all powerful, yet they allow the private ownership of corporations, business. And this works to empower these rich. They get a lot of money. See, the big time guys, let's see, the Jeff Bezos, the Zark Zuckerbergs, the Bill Gates of the world, the Warren Buffetts, the George Soroses, if they want socialism, folks, big totalitarian government, which they seem to want, some of them more than others. If that's what they want, they don't want the social communist kind that takes everyone's property, everyone's business, and everyone's money and says, we're the government, we'll take charge of that. They want social fascism, which allows the private property ownership of large businesses. They want to keep their power, these super rich dudes, but they want the government to be all powerful over the people. So it goes oligarchs / billionaires, then government, and then the people. Right? They want us under the government. They want government to control us, the people, so that they can continue to enrich themselves. You know, that 1% thing. Yeah. And it's something I've been trying to say and explain for a long time is, yeah, that's what the U.S. is. We now have corporations telling the government what to do, bankers telling the government what to do, and the government thinks it owns us now. And Ukraine is no different, folks. They're playing the same games there. Crazy world, folks. We got Blue Cord Devil. I hope you're out of Washington. Are you out of Washington yet? I sure hope you're out of Washington State. He says, statement, Wally World Distribution Center in Indiana on fire yesterday. Shortages coming. Okay, yes, Walmart had a large distribution center catch fire. They put all kinds of carbon in the air, folks. Carbon, smoke, pollutants. That was a major or very large distribution center, but we need to understand that Walmart has many distribution centers, the same way Amazon is now, I believe, the largest employer in the country. They have distribution centers, warehouses everywhere, like every major city, everywhere, so that you can order something and have it tomorrow. You know, they love that next day service on many of their most used and frequently bought items. So I don't think that this fire is going to significantly make anything worse on its own, but it is going to be a contributing factor to the ongoing shortage issues. And I would say, especially in the greater Indiana area, where this one particular warehouse was serving so many people. Anyways, thank you for that. Just think of everything, folks, as contributing. The ships sitting off the coast of America not being unloaded, that's contributing to the shortages. Truckers not being able to work because they can't afford the fuel is going to contribute to the shortages. Warehouses catching on fire will contribute. Everything is contributory, folks. So we need to kind of think about that, if we can, the aggregate amount of effing up that's going on, whether it's intentional or accident, by design, or that's just how things work. Incredible. Opie Waddell checks in. He says, if Chinese weapons are made anything like their pliers, we are good to go. Those fuckers only work once, then they strip the bolts. I know what you're talking about, man. It had to be 2003, 2004. I think it was either my ex-brother-in-law or my ex-mother-in-law took a trip to Chicago Tool Company. No, Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight had a big warehouse. And Harbor Freight tools are called Chicago Tool Company or something, but they're all made in China. And they had like these orange grips, and they were the biggest pieces of shit. I don't think, yeah. Now, that being said, yeah, you get what you pay for, made out of crap metal. They'd strip, break. They never grabbed anything properly, these pliers, whether they were channel locks or cutters. I have a couple, ultimately a couple of things that worked, but yeah, they make garbage, folks. But they make garbage for us. They make garbage for us. They keep the good stuff, I think, for themselves. Let us move on. We got Opie Waddell. He says, John, I wonder if people in America would fuss about those Ukrainian single models showing up as refugees. People fuss about immigrants coming here. Will the ladies get refused at the border like the Haitians and other minorities? The whole thing about Ukraine being populated, the entire female population is supermodels, is a myth. I'm sure you can find plenty of beautiful Ukrainian women, the same way you can find beautiful Russian women or beautiful Czechoslovakian women. I'm sorry, Czech Republican women, beautiful Canadian women, right? Beautiful women from Argentina. There's beautiful women everywhere. But who gets in the country? Seems to me like everyone does. Those single Ukrainian women. Yeah, that's. I don't even know how to answer that. They're not going to have any problem coming in. All they would have to do is put an ad in the paper and say, Ukraine immigrants need sponsors. And I'm sure every cretin on the planet or every cretin in America would volunteer. I'll take one in. And you can imagine the trouble that's going to cause. Okay. Blue Cord Devil says, next Saturday, we will be getting out of Washington State. Good. Folks, being prepared is not just food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Being prepared is having a plan. And your plan may, could, would, should include relocating yourself to an area that is more favorable to minimizing negative effects on your life as we get deeper and deeper and deeper into SHTF. Yes. So Blue Cord Devil is getting out of the great state of Washington, the People's Republic of Washington, and going to another state. So that's part of his plan. And people will move as far as they can according to their ability, their financial ability. It's incredible, folks, how many people I know are stuck where they're stuck, and they can't go as much as they like, but they're stuck because their job, right? They got a job there and they can't be assured of a job somewhere else. It's really going to be a heck of a world, folks. Now, the lawyer for Hunter Biden's baby mama just happens to have a lot of Hunter's financial records. And she's handed over this in a criminal tax probe. And this lawyer says, I expect him to be indicted. I am going to be shocked if anyone indicts Hunter Biden for anything more than just being a dumbass. But this is what's going on, folks. There is a fight. There is a struggle in this country to fix things. Right? There are some indictments of the BLM lady who bought what? A mansion, a hotel. She bought a franchise or something, crazy stuff. Bubblegum shrimp, right? We're seeing some, when we're finally hearing about some of these left-wing arsonists who are being prosecuted. Good. I wonder if these particular prosecutors just happen to be of the persuasion of, they like law-abiding citizens and they like law and order. And so they're actually doing their job. That's what my suspicion is. I doubt it is these extreme left-wing lunatic judges and prosecutors that are actually arresting left-wing lunatics and prosecuting them. So we'll see, right? It's almost like you have to pick a venue in order to ensure that you're going to get a fair trial. I mean, St. Louis, forget it. Apparently, Wisconsin, folks, is the only people or person they've tried prosecuting for doing something wrong is Kyle Rittenhouse. They seem to have lost that. Unbelievable what's going on, folks. The world is on its head, and it has hit the fan. And there's no way we're getting out of this without it getting worse, much worse for a long, long, long time. So you may as well get used to the idea, folks. It's bad, and get prepared, because chance favors the prepared mind. Aren't you glad you are a prepper? Thank you again for supporting us. PayPal, Super Chats on the Zoo. I'll see all of you for the Free for All Friday tomorrow, mañana. SHTF is never a day away. It's with us every day now. You guys be cool, semper fi, and Godspeed.